we really need to reflect on how we spend our time, what we think about, who we spend it with. And yes, this is coming up on 5 minutes. This is 5 minutes that you'll never have back. Or you might be like me and listen to this at 1.5. But like in all seriousness, think about like do an audit of your day and just reflect like I'm gonna die someday. Is this actually gonna make me proud? This is Better Wealth with Caleb Guilliams. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Better Wealth Breakdown. I'm here with Right Hand Dan, and we break down concepts, ideas, and thoughts from around the world to help you live a more intentional life. Today's episode, we're going to talk about you don't get this time back.
Yeah, you will never get this time back. Like you listening to this episode right now, you will never get this time back. I sure hope it's going to be valuable for you, but that alone, like I just want that to sink in for a second. You know, we talk about all the time intentional living. You are being intentional by listening to this episode. And as we close out 2020, and head into 2021, I really want to challenge you to think about every situation, every moment of your day. What are you doing? Are you being intentional in that? You know, Greg, that's what we talk about all the time in his legacy of like living intentionally, because he had short time. And there's a lot of people in the world that have the same thing where they have some sort of terminal illness. I mean, realistically, all of our time, we have a timer. It's ticking.
We just don't know when it is. And some people get that from a third party that says you have a year to live.
That's right.
We had someone in our community that said their father-in-law has less than a month to live.
Yeah. And, you know, that Greg said that was probably the best thing that ever happened to him because it truly caused him to be intentional with every single moment, whether he was in good health or not. And, you know, I keep trying to figure out how do I increase my effectiveness, and time again, it's funny, no pun intended in time, is how effective are you with your time? How are you spending your time? And I keep reading that you should literally, you know, write down your entire day. How was it spent? What time was ineffective? What time was effective? What were you doing in each of those things? And I think whether it's in business, whether it's in personal life, whether it's your relationships, you know, I grew up on this premise that, you know, sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do because it's for the greater good. And that could apply in a lot of different areas. But I question that theory of, you know, life is so short. You know, you talk about this one life idea.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, they just take it for granted.
Yeah. Couple things. I'm seeing this thing right here. If you're listening to this, I'm holding up my cell phone. Look at computers. You look at the wasted time we spend worrying, gossiping, and focusing on things that are actually not going to make a difference. I shared a video a while ago on the election, how much time and energy gets spent on things that you can't control. And then you also do the exercise. The exercise is essentially you take a piece of paper and you print 100 boxes on that piece of paper, and each box represents a year of your life. And do this exercise. And actually, I encourage you to do it because there is something that changes when you actually fill in those boxes. But you might be listening or watching this, and you might be 15 years old. You also might be 50 years old. You also might be 70 years old. And by filling in those boxes, it gets you to, number one, reflect. I definitely think we need to be ones that take a step back and just reflect on what's going on, but also look at what we have ahead of us and ask the question, how do we want to spend our life?
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is at Better Wealth, we're focusing a lot on strategies. I'm really excited about this movie that's going to come out in 2021. We're very big in community. We had to postpone an event, but I'm telling you, when we have our event, it's going to be incredible. And all these strategies and learning about taxes, but we really have to take a step. Why is it important? And it's a complete waste of time if you're just continuing to go on with your life without changing direction and just being a little bit more efficient, because quite frankly, why be more efficient if it doesn't matter? So it is very interesting that we really need to reflect on how we spend our time, what we think about, who we spend it with. And yes, this is coming up on 5 minutes. This is 5 minutes that you'll never have back. Or you might be like me and listen to this at 1.5. But like in all seriousness, think about like do an audit of your day and just reflect like, I'm gonna die someday. Is this actually gonna make me proud?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you said it beautifully is like do that audit. And I think about this a lot of different opportunities, different things that we can do, whether it's going to a coffee shop or whether it's going to an event or whether it's being in a meeting and really
Yeah.
auditing that is like, is it truly effective? Is it worth my time to be in that meeting? And a quote that I recently read that I love is a quick no is better than a long maybe.
Yeah. Or
And
every time you say yes, you're saying no to something.
yeah. And I think it's like if you have an opportunity, let's just say it's to spend time with friends or family or whatever it may be. If it's not a heck yes in your mind, then it should be a heck no. And that is like to me the basis of intentional living because if it's a heck yes, that's going to light your fire. That's going to fuel your passion. And if it's heck no and you still do it, I can promise you you're going to be wondering after
Yeah.
that
So I'm
moment.
gonna put you on the spot. Good. Sorry, finish
No,
your
that's
thoughts.
fine. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I'm gonna put you on the spot and why do you work tirelessly? And a lot of people would look at you and say, why do you put in so much work at BetterWealth?
I do that because I feel like what we're doing here is so incredibly powerful and I truly am passionate about it. Like my nature is to serve people and I'm doing it through our business. I'm doing it in my personal life and that is really like my passion project. And I say that all the time is like I get told, well, you work too much, you need to take a break, you need to do this. And I think we've completely mischaracterized the idea of work.
Yeah.
Like this truly like yeah, is it glamorous all the time? Absolutely not. But I enjoy every single second of it. Like I truly, and this is what we desperately want for people is like, I do wake up excited about the day. I do go to bed excited to get up again to be able to
Yeah.
do it again. And we do it 7 days a week, all the time.
Yeah.
There is no downtime. And I absolutely love it
Right.
because the impact that's going to come from this, we're going to be able to your point, we're going to look back on this video or this podcast 20 years from now and know that we made a difference because we got some people to audit their time and realize that life is so short. I would love for
Yeah.
2 years from now, next year, whenever our event is, for somebody that listened to this to come up to me and say, because of that podcast, it changed my life.
Yeah.
That one switch, that I mean, really that's part of my passion too, is to get people to think a little bit differently. And here I am picking up my voice, and this is the passion coming out is like, I truly want people to think a little bit differently because
Yeah.
we've been so ingrained in a certain way. And I even see it in my own life. I'm only 28 years old. And I'm like, where the heck did the time go?
Yeah.
You know?
I know, dude. If we live to 100, which we're healthy, we plan on, but like the average person doesn't live to 100. I've already lived a 1/4 of my life, and it went really fast.
Yeah. It, and so that's why, Gary Vaynerchuk, we just talked about him. He says, go to a nursing home. And
Yeah.
what you're going to see and hear from the people in a nursing home is the regret of the things they didn't do
Yep. Yeah.
and not the things that they did do.
Yep.
So, of course, this is now we're getting up here in time, but again, it's so important.
The other thing I want to share is do an audit of the people that you spend time with. As we enter the new year, a lot of us have great intentions, but we are only as good as the people that we surround ourselves with.
Yeah.
And they every one of us on our team had to make certain decisions, and we're very intentional with number one, the meetings that we spend our time with, the people that we spend our time with, what we share about the future, is because we gotta be careful how we steward our time. The other thing is opportunity cost.
Mhm.
We talk about opportunity cost as it relates to money, and essentially is each decision has not just a consequence today, but a long term consequence. Not only is this taking some of your precious time, but it also think about what you could be spending you know on that time somewhere else that could potentially give you a new skill that could help you live more intentionally, i.e. that's why we're hoping that this is so valuable that you look back and say, I am rethinking my life, or I'm going to say no to something that I really wasn't excited about, or I'm actually going to do that because in 100 years it's not going to matter. And I want I want to be excited and no, I don't enjoy every single part of my life. Neither does Dan, but we enjoy what we're working towards.
Yep.
And for that's why I asked you, because you work so hard, and it could be depressing, especially in our culture. It's like, hey, go out on vacation and do your thing and like don't work and you know what? That's if that's you, that's totally cool. But I think you get to something deeper and it has something to do with legacy. There's a reason why we do what we do at Better Wealth and how we even help people plan is it also the work that you do will live on be like our future grandchildren could be watching this video.
Yep.
You and I may not even be around.
Yeah. It's powerful.
And that's also an incredible time to be alive. So we've gone. How do we even start this video?
You'll never get this time back. this 9 minutes and 55 seconds. The one thing I want to finish with is another real passion of mine is this idea of giving kids a first chance. And you heard that right, a first chance, not a second chance, a first chance. And there's whether it's in our own backyard or whether it's abroad, there are so many kids in this world that don't have an opportunity. They just need to be given a chance, because their living situations are awful and they really don't have much of an opportunity. And my challenge to you is you have an opportunity. The fact that you can listen to this tells me that you have an opportunity to make a difference. You have an opportunity to take chances in your own life. And I think that's one of the most powerful things. And when you first interviewed me 2 years ago, you asked the legacy question. And for me, it was just take a chance. It goes back to the retirement home and the regret. You will never regret taking chances because you're going to learn a ton if it doesn't work, and you're going to pick yourself back up again, and you're going to succeed eventually.
Do a life audit, get intentional, audit your friends, realize when you're saying yes, you're saying no to something else. We really appreciate you guys. We hope you continue to live intentionally, and we know that 2021 is going to be the best year of your life. Thank you so much for listening to the Better Wealth Podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.